Morning, YouTube. I was just watching a video by James at Tactical Response, James Yeager. If you haven't checked him out, get over there. Anyway, he's talking about citizen response to active shooter situations, and I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with the point that he makes, and that is we don't carry a gun for, at least I don't. Right here, I don't carry a gun for my protection. I really don't. Ironically, forever, every situation I've ever been in, I guess just being situationally aware, I don't find myself ever in a position where I feel that threatened that I need to produce a firearm. I've been in positions where I've felt threatened enough where I had to, ball up my fist and punch some asshole in the suck hole. But I've never felt where I needed to draw a weapon to defend myself. Okay, and those of you that know me is going to know that's probably not a 100% honest statement. There has been a couple of incidences where things have turned out different. But what I'm saying is I don't get up every morning and put my gun on and go out into the world thinking that I just put that on so that I'm sure that I come home at night. I put that gun on because, just as James states in his video, I would rather have a gun in my hand than a cop on the phone. Okay? Most incidences last a very, very short period of time. And generally the cops are called as an afterthought. Okay? When it comes to you have well, let's just build the scenario. You walk into an establishment, restaurant, grocery store, whatever it is, movie theater, you name it, and some deranged fucking lunatic decides at that exact moment in time to let his clock spring unwind. Okay, and he drags out his whatever it is, and I don't give a shit if it's a fucking .22 revolver. Okay. He is immediately at that point a threat to those around me and me. And so, do I whip out my cell phone, and pull the fucking college superhero, turn my video camera on, and punch 911 in on the phone and videotape my own demise? Sorry, I'm not wired like that. I reach in my holster and I draw my weapon. And I start driving rounds into the threat. So the fastest way to get a bad man to stop shooting at you is shoot him. Period. That's the fastest way. Negotiations don't work. Bribery doesn't work. Pleading, crying, pissing, whining, fuck a bunch of that. Put one in his tee box, and he will, I guarantee you, stop shooting. Okay? Everybody's going to play the devil's advocate. Okay, if he has a 100-round drum mag in a full automatic rifle and you shoot him in the tee box while he's under load, while this booger hook is on the bang button, there's a good chance that due to the cerebral shutdown, the synapses quit moving in his brain and his muscles don't change their continuate format, that magazine may get emptied. I can't say for sure. So, covering the devil's advocacy, yeah, there's a possibility he may continue to shoot. They're not going to be placed, aimed, fire, okay? Because he's fucking dead. So, I'll take my chances that he rips, 60 rounds down the fucking cereal aisle, and hopefully nobody gets hit. But in reality, I would rather have him cerebrally flatlined, okay, with a hollow point to his fucking brain box, than to have him actively acquiring targets and aiming. Because I guarantee you the statistics show that he is going to be much more successful in the amount of casualties he leaves in his wake if he's awake at the switch, so to speak. So, those of you that choose to carry a firearm on a day-to-day basis, I want you to get it in your head, okay, you have a responsibility. Not to yourself, but to those around you, your fellow citizens. A lot of you out there don't classify yourselves as a sheepdog, and that's fine. Okay, we don't expect you to, but you have an obligation nonetheless, as an armed citizen, to respond in defense of your fellow citizens and yourself. And if you're going to respond, let's do it as effectively as we can. Go out, get some training, find yourself the means of which to acquire good usable knowledge, good usable tactics, and above all, a lot of people find that they get in a panic situation, and they panic. That's why we call it a panic situation. You can really benefit yourself by playing a little role play in your mind. Okay, I'll give you an analogy. I used to race motocross, and if I played it over in my head, okay, that how that race was going to transpire, okay, that I was going to charge to the front, that I was going to, I was going to get up on my tank, really, attack the corners and drive out of the, into the straightaway, and all the things that are involved in competitive racing format. Okay, I studied the tapes. I watched people that were a lot better at it than me, and I watched how they did it, and then in my mind ran it through how to go about doing that, how to become more aggressive, how to transition faster, how to, all the things that improve your abilities. You can do that with your weapons and defense as well. If you say to yourself, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to, I'm going to sight this pitcher in and I'm going to squeeze that trigger, those things are kind of a fantastical, if you will, how you run it through your brain. It's like a daydream. Put yourself mentally in that position and think your way through it. Give yourself some adversity. We've got one active shooter, and we need to get in a position where we can put rounds on him, and he has a partner, and we need to use cover in order to get a clear line of sight to drive rounds on him. Do that in your head. Run scenarios through your head, because I've found anyway in my life that if I have already thought through that scenario, I tend to react a whole lot better than if I have to start cold. You know what I mean? Where I've never, that's something that's just never entered my mind. That's why I don't do well at Ladies Aid meetings and Avon sales and candle parties, and I don't think about that shit. Okay, so these are things, like I said, that you can run through your mind as you're just sitting around, drinking a cold one and watching fucking Seinfeld. Just think through the scenarios of how you would react and how you need to react in a situation, so that the next time, God forbid, you go to the grocery store, and while you and your wife are picking up, pot roast and fucking a gallon of milk, and some ass clown, crackhead decides that he's going to cause some serious fucking problems, you know how to react. If you're a daily carry permit holder and you carry every day, you have the gear. You just have to have the wherewithal, the mindset. So run it through your head a little bit, and say, hey, if this happens, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go, duck behind this fucking ice cream cooler, and I'm going to get a sight on him, and I'm going to start squeezing some rounds into his ass. And once you've thought about that a few times, I personally believe that even without a lot of hands-on training, you're going to mentally react a lot better than if you haven't thought that situation through at all previous to it happening. So give it a shot, and hey guys, stay solid out there. Watch your six.